And welcome back to the channel and to my continued playthrough of Accident, which is a PS5 game. It's on the PlayStation Store at $9.99. So just to recap, we are a journalist that is able to essentially reenact accidents from the perspective of the first responder. So to do that, we have our little desk in an office. We pick our case file, that will put a CD into the computer, and we will then be taken through some virtual reality walkthroughs of the scene. So this is the second scenario. This is in Russia, and the first thing that we're going to do is we're being prompted to call the emergency services. And so on this one, there is again a little bit of variety. So there will be some spoilers, just to warn you, because what I've found is that whilst there are heads-up displays and visual cues on the screen, some of the things that you need to do are a little bit obscure, and I don't know whether that is to then essentially extend the game time, because it is quite a cheap game. By that I don't mean in terms of quality. It looks perfectly reasonable. I mean that I'm not really sure how many different scenarios there are at this point. We do get given 3 from the outset, and a case in point here would be that we're being prompted to call the emergency services, and so usually we would use our cell phone, and as you can see there is no signal. So common sense would have told me that I needed to find a place with a signal somewhere within the game zone, and I spent quite a bit of time doing that. I looked at any obviously visual cues for a phone mast, anything like that. I probably overthought it, but essentially we stumbled across the fact that you actually have to go and get a phone from another vehicle, which bizarrely does have a signal. So what we can do is, if we head over to this vehicle here, we do need to be careful on these roads because we can be killed ourselves. Is that if we go into this particular vehicle and there's a smartphone, and we can then call the emergency services to be guided through our response. And in the first scenario it's very similar in that one of the things that you had to do was actually to mark the accident location with 2 markers. In your own vehicle you only have 1, and so again I kind of wandered around the map looking at what I might need to do. I will just turn the ignition off while we do this, and it turned out that you had to get one out the back of one of the other vehicles. Otherwise, the on-screen prompts do exactly what you would expect them to do, and they do guide you through, and everything is kind of a click of the action button. So I'll just have a look in the back of this vehicle in case we do have, so that's locked, any of those warning triangles. So we've got our objective there. We have turned off the ignition in one of the vehicles. The other one was over the other side of the road, and we just need to be careful crossing this highway. Oops. I don't want to get killed ourselves, which I did, and it is an achievement. So once we grab the first aid kit and the emergency warning triangle, that should show us where on the environment we need to put it down to mark where our accident is, which I can't obviously see on the road here. So although it looks like the play zone is kind of endless, there are boundaries to it. So graphically it's quite simplistic, it does the job. I think it's a pretty unique kind of approach to a game. So it looks like it's got potential in terms of the different investigations that you can perform, and there is some variety to that, as we've seen as well. So this looks a bit treacherous, putting this down, we'll have to be careful. Oop. we don't get killed doing so. So we hopefully, although we've marked the scene, that doesn't seem to be slowing the drivers down any. Oh, and there we go. So crossing the road, got killed. So we can rewind time, as you can see on the screen there, and that'll take us back to the previous event. Okay, so we can go pick up where we left off. So we'll get into the vehicle and turn off the ignition. So there tends to be a cycle of things that we need to do. And so rather than go through the whole scenario, I will just kind of recap the kind of the steps of each of the scenarios. So we're going to arrive into a replay via our virtual reality headset. We will then have to mark out the scene, be guided on the emergency services, what we need to do to be able to assist any victims, and that's via the on-screen prompts. So you can see here that we've got a victim here. We need to turn off the ignition, but there's various bits of debris in the way, which I assume then we're going to need a tool to be able to move in order to get to the ignition. Actually, we can remove it with our hands here. So there are variations on the theme that add a little bit of depth to the gameplay. They've not gone overboard on the gore and all that kind of stuff, and so what will happen is you will then be prompted on what you need to do to hopefully help the victims. On the first scenario, 2 of them died at the scene, which was a bit grim, and so you get told that you couldn't do anything to help them. But essentially you will go through, follow the steps to make the scenes safe and do what you can to help, and then it's a case of reenacting the scene. So you will go through the environment and there'll be different kind of clues, if you like, and you put those into sequence, and once you're successful with that, then you'll get a real-time kind of reenactment of the accident, and it'll tell you that you've completed the scene. So that in a nutshell is Accident. At the moment we've got just 2 assigned jobs. I'm sure there'll be more than that on the playthrough, but that's what we've been given for the time being. So what I'll do is I will continue to play through those just so that we can get a little bit of a better idea of the game as a whole. So we'll just then, we have different things within our vehicle. Tends to be the same sort of things as you'd imagine. We've got a emergency triangle to mark out the scene, which is what we've been prompted to do here. We have a fire extinguisher in case there are any fires, which we've not come across other than the tutorial at the moment, and a first aid kit that has various different things in, such as breathing apparatus. So some of those are kind of timed button presses in terms of CPR, things like that. So there are on-screen prompts. The game pretty much kind of drops you straight into what you're doing. There is a bit of hand-holding, and yeah, it's quite an interesting concept. So with that, I will end the video, and I will finish this scenario and then see what more the game has to offer. If you're thinking of buying the game and this has been helpful, then please do give me a thumbs up to let me know. If you've enjoyed the game and you recommend I continue with it, then again, if you pop that down in the comments, that really helps, because I'm currently working my way through a number of games on the PlayStation Plus subscription, all those kind of things, and it's nice to have different types of games. So especially during the weekdays, there's not so much free time to play massive open world games, so it's nice to pick something up that you can just play for half an hour or so, and this seems to fit that category. Thank you very much for watching, and lastly, as always, if you hit the subscribe button, it does help my videos reach a wider audience, and there is varying content on there in different platforms as well.